Welcome, dear students. This session is about power of knowledge and English today. I hope by the end of this session, you would have a grasp over the concept of power of knowledge and its connection with the expansion of English and its spread in the world today. Well, my dear students, English is the medium of a great deal of the world's knowledge, especially in such areas as science and technology. And access to knowledge in today's world is a business. Actually, the whole educational system of the world, if you look at that, it is all, taken over by English as a medium of instruction. And in today's world where education has become officially, I would say, a business, the power of knowledge, once it is associated with English language, it has taken over this whole domain of life. When we investigate why so many nations have in recent years made English as their official language or, a foreign language or a second language in their countries or in their states to be used, the investigation tells us that most of the times the reason is always educational. The purpose is to change the medium of the education system, because all the countries now think that if they want to cope with the international world, for that they need to train their youth in such a way that they can connect with the rest of the people through English, which of course can happen on a mass scale only through education. Well, my dear students, since the 1960s, English has become the normal medium of instruction in higher education for many countries, including several where the language has no official status as such. Think of your own academic context. Day by day, the significance of English in the educational system is increasing. And even in the stream of what we call, for instance, Urdu medium, where Urdu is used as a medium of education, the gap between, the power of knowledge between the two mediums, the English and the Urdu, for instance, is increasing day by day. So this is an example of the power of knowledge that is associated with English language. Pakistan is not an exception to that, I would say. Other countries are also focusing on that. Advanced courses in, for example, in the Netherlands, they are widely taught in English, and they are, never taught in local languages. When it comes to Africa, for example, no African country uses its indigenous languages, its local languages for higher education, and only English is used as a main language for majority of the cases of teaching in higher education. The English language teaching that we may call ELT has become a business, and it is, it has seen its major growth through the recent decades. Another important factor that has contributed towards giving English the power of knowledge is the role of internet. Well, as a matter of fact, public acquisition of the internet is another element which actually started in 1990s. Moving from just sending emails, now, the use of Facebook and of Twitter and of, so many other technologies, maybe the word revolutionary can be easily justified when it comes to the use of English language in the domain of the use of internet. In fact, since its inception in 1960s, being used for emails and chats, where only a limited number of people were using it, through the last 30 years, we can see there has been a tremendous increase in its use. Just look around and you would see all the time people would be connected to internet, moving their fingers, texting messages, receiving messages, sending and doing chats, etc. The World Wide Web itself came into existence only in 1991, but since then there has been a revolutionary change in the use. And I would say that in an extraordinarily short time, people have not only accepted and adopted it, they have also mastered the technology. And of course, in doing so, they have encountered, adapted, and expanded, their experience with the language that presents this whole internet experience to them. And that, of course, is English language. So, all this information and all this knowledge that they gather, the source is English language, and this factor gives English itself a huge, boost and a lot of power. Also think of the slang and of the jargon, breaking the conventional ways of using linguistic rules of spellings and of punctuation, etc. Look at the text messages that we do, how we shorten the words, how we clip the words, how we change the spellings, how, we do not write proper, syntactically proper, correct sentences, etc. All this has an impact on the English language. It is thought that today 3/4 of the world's email is in English. But as no one monitors, this language use, and as no one knows when we write letters, etc. So, these statistics cannot be, very strictly speaking, cannot be followed. I think probably the use is increasing every day, and that is what all of us have a consensus on. Only on the internet, where messages and data can be left for indefinite periods of time, it is possible to develop an idea of how much of world's communication is taking place in English. But for sure, there is no doubt that with every passing moment, it is increasing. So, think of all the inventions, think of all the machines, and think of all the discoveries. Everything where it comes from is the world where English is used as a first language. Everything that we receive about these inventions, machines, and discoveries is in English language or is related to English language. This is the power of knowledge that is related to today's English.